parenting teaches us something about God. And what it teaches us in part is, number one, how far we go for our kids, which is what God does for us every single day, you know, and what he's already done in Christ. One of the other things it teaches you is the frustration of creating life and then not being able to control it, which is also God's problem. And he manages that a whole lot better than we do. We tend to go into control mode. We want to control our kids into loving and liking and being okay with the decisions we bring to their life. That tends to backfire for parents. When we try to control their emotional condition, we have to be patient with it. We have to understand that it brings a complexity to their world that they may or may not have wanted. And so you have to be patient with that. It doesn't mean you let them get away with murder. It doesn't mean that you drop the behavioral standards so that they have no expectations. It doesn't mean that. There's a fine balance here. But it does mean being patient with their emotional heart. When you relax and let a child get there on their own, you find that it's much more real and authentic when they do get there, and it comes more quickly than if you try to force it down their throat. What we've just begun to talk about, Kim, is a teaching point that I call, you know, how do you cook a step family? And it's not with a blender, because what do blenders do? Blenders force ingredients together. You know, this is the parent who goes to their child and says, look, I know he's not your dad, but call him dad anyway. That's a blender strategy. Now I'm going to make you call this guy dad so you'll feel good about him. Well, I get the goal. The goal is understandable. You want family connection and harmony. That makes sense. But the strategy of forcing the child to call him dad is offensive to a kid. Wait a minute, I got a dad. Even if my dad is deceased, I only have one dad. And you're not going to make me think of him as being equal to or replacing my dad. And as soon as you do that, you get a kid who backs up, and now they don't want any part of this guy, right? That's the blender mentality at work. It backfires. No, the way you cook a step family is with a crock pot. And what that's about is saying, okay, how do crock pots work? Well, you throw all the ingredients in, and then you turn it on and walk away. You don't have to force them to like each other, love each other, connect to each other. Time takes over, warms up the ingredients at a very slow pace, and eventually they soften on their own time, by the way. Some ingredients soften more quickly than others. But eventually they begin to share of themselves and combine into something that's really good to taste. That's a healthy strategy for parents to take in trying to combine the ingredients of their family. It takes patience, it takes time. The average step family needs somewhere between 5 and 7 years to begin to find this coming together, familyness, right? And so just like in a crock pot, it takes 5 to 7 hours to cook something, 5 to 7 years. Plus, you let the ingredients warm up at their own pace, make their own decisions, and combine themselves when they're ready. Some children, for example, will combine really quick. Some children don't have any need, and they will just be standoffish for an extended period of time, oftentimes longer than 7 years, depending on their age and how connected they are to the home and how much, if they're young adults or if they're, you know, all of those little factors make a difference in how long it takes to cook. The point is, the adults have to relax, and that's hard when you're feeling uneasy, guilty, fearful about how people are coming together, coming to like each other. Relax. Let it happen on its own. A little bit of heat. Be intentional. Seek out communication with the kids. Engage activities with them as a step parent that you know they like. Share with them interests that you have, that they like. Find ways of connecting. But you can't force them to like or love.